Welcome to the Tom Style Show, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the support today. We're so excited. Sebastian Chapela from Story Bard. He's the founder of Story Bard. He's with us. He was an ex-filmmaker, now a full-time entrepreneur. He's bringing the AI-generated stories, AI-generated content to everybody. And I was like, what is AI-generated content? What is this guy talking about? And then I looked at some of these videos. I'm like, oh my God, that is insane. I don't know where he's coming up with this, but I have so many questions about Story Bard, how to use it, what to do, what's next, etc. So let's get to Sebastian. Mm-hmm. Hey, Sebastian, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you much for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us. Now, Sebastian, what is Story Bard?
So we're building in Story Bard the TikTok of AI-generated content, right? So our platform allows anyone to instantly generate, watch, and share short AI video stories.
Wow.
As a general rule of thumb, like making video content, like every minute takes like several hours up to weeks, right?
Yeah.
And generative AI, 100x's that speed, right? So for us, it takes one prompt. You only have to type in one sentence, there's your entire 1 minute, 2 minute video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, back in the days, even until a few months ago or a few years ago, before the ChatGPT revolution and all that, we were like, okay, we are human. We are the creative thinkers. We don't, and computer just does everything many, many times better and more accurate, but the creativity is from us. Now you're taking that away from us. What's going on?
So I actually disagree.
Okay.
Because I think who it really affects is Hollywood, right? Because who does this help is individual creators.
Yeah.
Because you no longer need a team of 100 people to make amazing things. Now you just need one, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing is happening with coders, right? You're no longer going to need 100 coders. You're only going to need 5 really good ones on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be the same thing with filmmaking. You no longer need 100 people animator teams. You only need 5 good ones.
Wow, that when I was looking at these videos, I'm like, wow, they're really good. Especially, you had a couple of the competition and stuff going on, and those videos, I was looking at a guy, some rapping with the Matrix. Mm-hmm. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. AI can generate that? Is it actually AI generated, or people are just making that up?
Yeah. So we have 2 sides right now. We have our generating tool, and the ones you saw is our AI video showcase. So those are tools that everybody is using. So it's not just Story Bard.
Okay.
It's like a lot of those videos are used with Runway ML. And Gen 1 and Gen 2. So Gen 1 is video to video. So like, let's say we take our interview that we're having right now.
Yeah.
And say like, oh, what if it's an interview, but in anime?
Yeah.
Right? So it turns it into anime. Gen 2 is text to video. So like you say like, interview of startups, and it generates everything from zero. Yeah. Wow. And then what people are doing is like they're grabbing a lot of different tools, right? Like they might use Play.ht to make the audio, right? ChatGPT to make the script.
Yeah.
And kind of what we're doing is grabbing all those different tools and plugging them into one, so that it's like, we're really trying to pass the mom test. Like, can your mom create a story with us?
Yeah. Can she?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She has to type in a prompt, yeah.
She just types in a prompt. So I go to your website, I type in a prompt, I say, let's say Tom Style interviewing Sebastian Chapela about Story Bard.
Yeah.
And so then it goes, it has to first figure out who Tom Style is, who Sebastian Chapela is, and then how Tom Style's other interviews were before, and then it creates the characters, or it just...
Yeah, so the story is being created by GPT-3 right now, right?
Okay.
So GPT-3 connects itself to the internet, and it might know. GPT-3 still, we're waiting on the GPT-4 API.
Yeah.
So it's still, sometimes it doesn't get the characters right, but yes, it will eventually be able to. I mean, you can type it in right now, of course, yeah.
Man, that is insane. Just to think about it, I'm like, wow, I feel like the century old right now hearing these things. Now, Sebastian, so one thing that that gave me this idea. Before I was thinking, I wanted to upgrade the interview experience. I wanted to do different things. But then it goes to millions and millions of dollars worth of production. You need different people with specialized skills, with different setup and things like that. Now, with your tool, I don't even have to worry about that. I need to create different prompts, a couple of experienced people, or if I put in enough time myself, and then stitch together things and actually do a very, very large production at a very cheap price.
Yes. I think for what you're talking, we're more focused on like TikTok short form content. Right. So we're actually a few days ago decided to separate ourselves from the word like filmmaking, right? And more like short form video content, right?
Okay.
Because when you're creating films, you could say, you want, and like the same for this podcast, you want a lot more customizability, right? You want, I want this music and it changes here, and you want these edits, maybe this image is on top, right? We are the tool for those people that don't have all that education, right? That didn't go to film school, that don't have 10 years of experience. It's for your mom, But there are tools for what you're talking about. There are tools that you can plug in the raw files from these three cameras, and it will chop it up, and it'll take away all the and it'll edit it all for you. And
wow.
There's also AIs that, let's say we record with our iPhone, it'll make it sound as if we're using the lavaliers right here. So.
Oh my God! This is you're like a film genius. This is and you're putting those experiences, building these short form content. Why did you choose the short form stuff?
So, I think in 5, probably more like 10 years, the same way that your TikTok feed, that your Instagram feed is personalized to you, video content will be personalized to you. So what do I mean with that? Instead of when you go to Netflix, let's say you really like Tom Cruise, right? It will have Tom Cruise as an actor. Let's say you're watching it with your wife. It will have like a romantic subplot, right?
Wow.
Maybe you're watching it by yourself. It'll have more action, right? But how do you get there, right? AI can't determine if something is good or bad, right? A human has to tell it, this is a good image, this is a good video, this is a good story. So you first have to build a database, a platform with all those videos and people qualifying it, right? And so you need a lot of data. And that's one of the reasons why video has come slower than images, AI generated, because it requires a lot more data. So using that approach, what is a way to get the most amount of data? 1 minute, 2 minute video clips.
Wow.
And if we focus just on 1 hour, 2 hour music videos, that's all cool, but it doesn't give you enough data.
I see. But the short form, that's why I think TikTok kind of won the world in that, because they came up with a short form. They're collecting the maximum amount of data in the shortest amount of time, and so that they can personalize your feed. And so that's why you're focused on the AI version of TikTok, where the AI is generating. But in this case, the AI is consuming human content from previous generation or current happenings from the internet, and then giving the output as whatever, based on whatever the prompt you gave it. Now that is also getting into the system of contents you like or dislike, and that's also going to get feedback in. So it's kind of a loop, and someday, wow, that's pretty insane to think about, right? This is the whole process of it. So so short form video. Now, wow, in that case, I'm just so mind-bogglingly amazed that just the possibilities of things, right? Because so I go to Storybird, and so what are you guys focused on right now? You are building the software or the?
Yeah, there's two sides. So I actually have 2 co-founders. It's not just me.
Okay.
And we were kind of split in 3. I'm raising the money. Then there's Adel, who's doing the whole side of the community, the platform. Like we have a Discord, and then we have Adel, who's doing Will, who's doing the generator, right? So
he's the tech guy.
Yeah, he's
Like a team formation. What you guys are focused on?
What are we focused on?
Yeah.
Right now, the one thing we care about is growing users 5% a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a 5% a week. It's a massive growth by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty insane. So these users, what do you want them to do?
Generate content. Right now, how we measure a user is someone's that generating content.
Okay. So they generate the content and it goes to your database.
Yeah, so it's still super rough because Will and Adel actually came on like 4 weeks ago. But we've managed to like do so much in that like small period of time. Yeah. So we do have a database. I don't know how to access it yet. It's still all very like new and like, but yeah.
But so later on, when I go to Storybird, will I be first prompted to generate something on my own, or I'll be just watching like TikTok?
Yeah,
wow.
So it's interesting because, and this is true across all platforms. Yeah. There's like 80% that just watch. Okay. There's like 15% that interact. Yeah. And there's only like 5 to 3% that actually make, right? Oh. But something that we want to implement is a remix feature, right? And so that's the ability of changing already pre-existing videos. So like, let's say you make Star Wars, right? And I'm like, what if it's Star Wars, but it's Lego Star Wars, right? Or what if it's Star Wars, but Darth Vader's a good father, right? Wow. So suddenly it's no longer just the creators creating, but the entire community is creating. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty insane to even just wrap your head around it. This is, because there's just so much people can do when you give them the power to do. Because just with the show, I have like 10 different ideas. Oh, maybe what if I'm sitting here? What if the table is like that? What if, a lot of those what if scenarios and, or based on what I've spoken so far, I have many videos where I'm talking for an hour, right? People can easily take that and get a prompt from ChatGPT and make a rap song about it. Yeah. And that I thought would take years for Hollywood studios to build.
For Hollywood, yes.
But for you, it's just like, boom, sure, Tom, just give us the clips, a couple of them, and the AI gives you the basics, and you have to just polish it up a little bit, and done. Yeah. Wow, so you have, what I see is, you can actually start with the short form and then go to longer forms as well, because people are going to be just so excited to see how it is. Yep. And in your case, because when I watch other TikTok or shorts or things like that, my thought after watching those is not, let me go out there and do the same thing myself. No, I'm not going out there, doing those. But in this case, I'm like, let me make one myself and see how that works, right? Yeah. So it opens up just a huge amount of possibilities with the help of AI. So what do you call yourself? Film meets AI, or AI and film combined? Is that or not the film? I don't think you want to use that word. Yeah. So you want to use maybe short.
TikTok of AI.
TikTok of AI.
Yes.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. So okay, right now this is you, Will, and Adel.
Yes.
So you are focused on raising money. Have you guys gone through the pre-seed, seed, things like that, or just?
No, we're raising pretty soon. So we're gearing up to do all that.
Gearing up, getting ready. Because look at the vision you guys have. You should be raising tons of money.
Yeah. We've actually received like interest from a couple investors. Yeah. But we're like, hold on. Yeah. We're gonna do that in a bit.
Because this is fantastic. A lot of the times in tech world, we are always thinking of solving problems, but then it goes to that problem-solving mentality. Oh, there is a problem, we want to solve it. In this case, it's an entertainment. It's just an extension. It's like a fun thing that you're bringing in, where people can participate in that activity, right? But that also brings up a question of all these remixing and the original content remixed to so many times, and the overpopulation of AI generated. Because what I see is it's going to grow faster than human generated content because it's so easy and so convenient, right? And so then the challenge is going to be on the algorithm to actually sift it through and say, okay, this one is the most liked out of all the remixes of this particular video. So this one maybe we'll put it on the front page, something like that. So you have a lot of problems that you're going to face that no one has faced before.
Yeah.
Right? Because, others are not thinking about Mr. Beast giving away money versus that there's a remix of that. But now people can actually do that.
Yeah.
Right? If they say, okay, just change Mr. Beast's face with Tom, and like all of a sudden Tom giving away money that he doesn't have, and it creates this whole thing, and just to think about it. So these are exciting stuff. You got a great thing going on now. And I asked you about what you guys are working on. You guys are doing all these things. So what's the timeline look like? So you guys are geared towards a big launch in a year or so, or?
Yeah, so we want to release an app in like a year, right? Right now we're focused on doing it all web because it's faster.
Yeah.
So right now our platform's going to be web-based for like about a year, and after we'll release an app so that you can easily do it, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Might go viral app, huh? This is what is it going to be called? Storybird?
It's Storybird, yeah.
Storybird. Yes. That's fantastic, man. Sebastian. So now Sebastian, let's forget about the app. Let's think about you now.
Okay.
Your background, you're a filmmaker from Vancouver. You studied in Vancouver Film School. So tell us a little bit about is it like filmmaking? Is that your curiosity from childhood, or?
Yeah. So I don't know. Ever since I can remember, I wanted to be a film director. So it wasn't like love at first sight. Like it wasn't like I watched Jaws and I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. It was more like I just kept coming back. Like I would stop doing it for 6 months and then I kept coming back. And like by 16, I had already made like a viral film with like 800,000 views.
Oh my God!
And I actually became homeschooled. I dropped out of high school to become homeschooled, and I was just like, I'm gonna go full in filmmaking because I felt like public school was punishing me for like pursuing what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I moved with one of my best friends to LA, and that's when I made that film. And then a few years later, I ended up in Vancouver Film School. And what I really liked about it is that as opposed to USC, I didn't have to take like history or math. And it was only film. I only took film, right? And it's like even for 4 months, we didn't have classes, and it was just like make your own films, right?
Yeah.
And by the end of Vancouver Film School, I had made like 50 short films.
Man.
But something really strange happened that I felt like very unfulfilled towards the end of film school. And I was like, why? Like, I've been dreaming of this moment for like the past 6-8 years. Like, and maybe it was like, I mean, I was definitely burnt out.
Yeah.
I had been going through a breakup. It was a pandemic, right?
Oh yeah, the pandemic.
But that didn't take away that I just felt very unfulfilled. So I did a lot of runs in Vancouver. There's like a lot of nature. So I would go on a run, and then I would like get into a river, and it was like super cold. And then I was like, ooh, like, because up to that point, for me, the meaning of life was to be happy, right? And I was like, well, if that's the meaning, why am I putting myself through so much shit, Like, why am I pushing myself so hard? And then I realized that my purpose in life was to change history, right?
Wow.
And that's when making films was no longer enough, and that's when I became an entrepreneur.
Wow, man, that's like a film story. This is like real life film. Wow, okay. So you want to make changes in other people's life, in the world, in the history.
So my dream is no longer to make films, but to make the next Disney.
to make the large corporation that can do things for people. And wow, so that's a very lofty goal. And so when you have that dream, you have that goal, okay, you know what, not just filmmaking, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do things. How did you choose the AI-generated short film things over, why not a film software or et cetera, so many other things?
Yeah, so after film school, I came back to the Bay Area. And initially I saw an opportunity in virtual reality.
Yeah.
Because that was like 2 years ago, and I thought it was gonna blow up. I thought virtual reality was the next thing. So I started this company called VR Story Lab. That it was a film incubator that provided funds, mentorship, and gear to help filmmakers produce their films in virtual reality.
Yeah.
But what ended up happening is that virtual reality is still too early.
Yeah.
Right? The number one problem is friction, right? Like if it's competing against TikTok, Netflix, YouTube that I can have up and watching in 5-10 seconds, right? A headset I have to put on, like you have to calibrate. You don't have to calibrate it anymore, but it's still like, if I'm in my car, I'm not gonna pull out my headset, right? If I'm in my bed lying down, like I have 10 minutes before I'm gonna go to sleep, I'm not gonna put on a headset.
Yeah.
So in the end, it was too early. But around that time, I had gone to LA to an event called LA Tech Week. Okay. And I had hosted an event, and that was like 4 or 6 months ago. And I met this other guy that was making an AI film startup, right? And I was like, well, that's a really cool idea, but it's too early, no? And then I came back home and I was like, well, but is it, right? Yeah. And I thought more about it. And then everything started coming out. I was like, well, virtual reality like suddenly made like no more sense to keep doing, because virtual reality, let's say if it does blow up, it just affects a small portion of filmmaking, right? Yeah. But AI doesn't just affect filmmaking and video content creation, but the entire world, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know if you knew, but ChatGPT reached like 100 million users in like a week, you know? And this is an existential threat for like all companies. Like it's either you pivot into AI or you go extinct, right? So right now there's this massive opportunity to be like the advertising of AI, the TikTok of AI, the music videos of AI. So it doesn't matter if like, let's say the TikTok of AI doesn't work, because we can pivot and say like, oh, now we're the music generators of AI, right? Yeah. To give some random example.
Yeah, no, that's, wow, but the thinking, your thought process, I think you walked us through the thought process, that's pretty insane. And pretty inspiring, actually, to think about it, right? So you want to focus. So I think this has a broader aspect, as you were seeing. Mm-hmm. AI would impact so many things. Out of that, you picked the video content portion of that, and you want to be the master of that. You want to be the Disney of that, right? That's your goal, the Story Bard, to be, okay, that's the center of that revolution. You know, so because in Silicon Valley back in the days, we used to say the rising tide lifts all boats. So whatever is rising, you jump on it, and that's what got a lot of idiots getting into things that they didn't know. Oh, oh my God! I'm an investor on some of those things, so I cannot say too much bad things. But I was like, what is that? I still don't know. What is this NFT going on? But going back to the VR stuff that. You are no longer doing the VR right now, but since you have done before and you have a lot of knowledge in that area, what if you combine the AI, the short video, in the VR? Mm-hmm. Is that a thing, or I'm just putting words together?
Yeah, and that's also another reason why we moved into AI, because AI encompasses VR also, right? And actually, AI does help virtual reality a lot. But that doesn't get rid of the like physical hardware. There's a lot of problems, like just like the internet speed is not up to par to be downloading 4K 360 videos, right? Yeah. And like 4K is too little. So sometimes like you're even doing 16K videos 360. So it's just like battery sizes, the size of the pixels, like it's.
For the VR filming, the hardware stuff is a big problem, because we had a couple of VR folks here, and we gave them the video that we filmed, and when they generated the VR content, the pixel was terrible because this wasn't enough. I think we gave them very regular stuff that could be used at TikTok and YouTube's, and so I wasn't very impressed looking at it, because I was like, no, I want to see like literal, I want to see like in movies, right? It's just, wow, you're immersed into it. But, looking at pixelated hand movement, and I'm like, no, I don't want to see that. This is not 1950s. What is this? So I think that's a challenge, but I think AI could solve some of that hardware challenges down the road, right?
And like, don't get me wrong, I do want to see virtual reality flourish. Like, I do think there's a very exciting future. There's a reason why I got into virtual reality in the first place. But there's still a lot of very hard challenges to overcome. And I see there's something very important when you're making startups. It's called the right timing, right? And I don't know about when is the timing for VR, because everybody's been saying like, oh, this is the year for like 10 years.
Yes. And especially the Mark Zuckerberg video, right? When he went with that, virtual reality, that he changed the name of the company and, gave everything in that direction. That's when people thought, okay, it's very close, it's coming. And then he's like, after a couple of years of burning, I think $20-30 billion he burned, he was like, okay, let's not worry about that. Let's go back to Instagram. And, so I think that was the biggest factor that kind of gave the VR a boost. But when Apple comes up with it, I think, all these big companies, when they start coming up with it, I think then people are still going to say another 5 years, another 10 years.
I think, right. For me, when I see virtual reality, and I think it's, and you guys touched it in one of your podcasts, that I don't think it's virtual reality, but it's mixed reality, right? So it's when you're able to do AR and VR in the same, like if you can put virtual reality on as easy as this, that's when it's gonna go massive, right? But right now you can't just do this.
Yeah, you need the whole system, put it on. It's a whole preparation, and then motion sickness is another factor, so that means you have to prepare your day. You cannot just put it on, get that done, and then after that you're like, oh, okay, I have a headache and all that. So, but I heard somewhere that you don't get motion sickness.
I don't. I don't know how you know that, but I don't get motion sickness.
Oh, that's very, is that because you trained your eyes for filmmaking? You're like...
I don't know, I just don't really. Like if I'm working in a car or in virtual reality, like I don't really get motion sick, no.
Mark Zuckerberg, if he's watching, he'll be like, wow, we need to hire that guy. This is the guy we're looking for.
But I actually think it's the opposite, since like I don't get motion sick. Like if I was a beta tester, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine. And people are puking in the corner.
No, we tested with that guy. He was the superhuman of that. We made sure he's totally fine. Oh man, so this is so. Now, what do you think? Do you think? But you're trying to bring this to the masses. Are you also trying to attract the celebs to participate in that? To have their memes and things like that, so that the common people like myself can participate around them, where they are starting in something. And
it's a very interesting conversation. First of IP, like right now, like if I put like, generate an image of Mark Zuckerberg. Do I own the image, or does Mark Zuckerberg own the image, right?
Who owns the image?
Or right now, the person that generates it.
Wow.
But and especially right now, a lot of people that are, like if you use an artist name, right? Like if I say, like, in the style of Dali, and let's say he's not alive, but let's say he was alive. Do I own royalties to Dali, or? So that is something that's ongoing. But I wanted to bring that up because I think that there is some business model in which you say like, for example, Grimes, she's like a music artist.
Elon Musk's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's how I know. I didn't
She
know
just
about the
said, like,
music
oh,
part.
you can generate music with, like, use AI music. You just pay me 50%, do whatever you want, you know?
Oh, wow.
So I do think there's a business model, like, in which you're, let's say, you're Leonardo DiCaprio, right? And you say, like, hey, pay me 50% of the videos you make, right?
Yeah.
And you can use me in your movies and your TikToks and whatever you want, you know? Right now, there's no legality around it. There won't be for a bit because, like, tech is moving way faster than the government, as it always does. But there's an interesting. But getting back to your question, I think for us, we're more focused with content creators. So I see us like partnering more with like Mr. Beast than with DiCaprio, for example. But I don't know, maybe both. Who knows?
Yeah, because oh my God, that's pretty insane. Because the royalty aspect of it, that could be a new thing for the celebs. Because you can use their
But it's also it's complicated because like if you think about it, like if I take a picture, the person that takes the picture is the owner. Depends if you're using it commercially. Like if I take a picture of you commercially, we do have to reach an agreement. Yeah. But if it's just for art, no. But so it gets very complicated.
So a lot of the legal complications. So but would that affect any part of Storybird?
No. So a lot of the lawsuits right now are more for because a lot of the images used for example, to train Midjourney or DALL-E, or there was a lot of them that were just grabbed from the internet. So like sometimes if you generate images, they'll even have like a fake watermark.
Yeah.
Because they were trained with images that had watermarks.
Yeah.
Right? So then there's some lawsuits where like, hey, you grabbed our images without our permission. And what would end up happening if they win the lawsuits is just that DALL-E and Midjourney would have to pay them royalties. But since we're on top of them, I mean, maybe our bill would go up a bit, but we're not in any legal trouble.
Charge you a little more, but that doesn't matter because you are not the one generating that content.
Yeah, we're just using their API.
You're using the API to generate a different set of content on the video format, right? And then somebody might use the videos generated from you to train something else, and it's one after another, and so but the possibilities now, again going back to the possibilities of a common user, what they can do with what you have given them, right? So, like I asked Edwin many times this question, just and he asked his professors and all that, that I want to be immersed. I want to be in a 3D, not 3D, but I want to be like, sometimes let's say I'm having this conversation with you, I just don't want to have one specific background. I want to be sitting in a coffee shop in your Vancouver, film near your school. So we're gonna grab a couple of those pictures and put me there. Everyone's like, this, that's a very, very expensive Hollywood problem. It's not like you can just do that, but hearing your thing. With your AI, you can generate the backdrop and a whole thing, and then pull me out of this, put me in there, put the whole thing. And that did not cost that much, right? So the immense possibility is just mind-boggling.
Yeah. And I think like something that people forget is that AI has already been in our lives for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, not a long time, but for several years. For example, a very good example of it is Unreal Engine 5. Yeah. It's an engine that just does... So have you ever noticed how video games look less realistic than movies?
Correct. Absolutely. I always noticed that.
The number one reason is it's called ray tracing. So it's how light bounces. So light is actually a particle. So it bounces a bunch of times. And when you're rendering it, like video games usually just render once, right? But with ray tracing, like you leave it overnight and it calculates all the bounces, and that's why it looks more realistic. And what Unreal Engine did, like 5-6 years ago, maybe I'm wrong, but with using AI, they managed to calculate ray tracing in real time. So now, if you see The Mandalorian, they didn't have a green screen. They had an entire, a massive screen behind them. Yeah. And it was rendering in real time So whenever you watch The Mandalorian, it's not green screens. It's a screen, an LED screen behind them. And AI allows you to calculate that in real time. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty insane. The filmmaking in general. Now, back in the days, we used to think about the storytelling part, and your name is also Story Bard. So the storytelling is the prime focus. But now I think of it as a filmmaker. It's not just the story. Now you have to know a lot of different aspects of things, because you may be trained in a certain way to make films or short videos or whatever videos, but now all these additional components that can make it significantly easier for you to do that, right? Even like all these late night shows, they do these voices, right? The president's saying something, they make a rap song about that, or they say the same thing 10 different times in 10 different places, things like that. But that required a lot of human labor to go cut those parts, find those. But now you probably just a prompt, it finds all those parts and, stitch them together, right? So the labor cost is gonna go down significantly.
Yeah, and there is a very interesting dilemma with AI, is that I do think in the next 5 to 10 years, there will be less jobs that you need to sustain humanity than the jobs that companies will need, right? And it is also a question of maybe when the internet came, it got rid of a lot of jobs, but it also created new jobs. Yeah. So there is also that unknown aspect of is AI simply gonna, because before you needed 100 developer, a team of 20, now you need a team of 3. Maybe that enables a lot more other things. So then you get into conversations of, do you need universal basic income or
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's been going around for a while now. That Elon Musk is a proponent, I think, of the universal basic income.
Another solution I've heard is taxing companies depending on how many employees they have. So if they have less, you would tax them more. So it encourages companies to employ more people.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're not there yet.
Yeah, because now, this is, sorry to cut you off, but now, these payroll taxes in certain states that are significantly high, like California, and New York, that's a big burden on these companies. Whereas they can just deploy AI or put their headquarters in a state that does not have state taxes. So I think California and New York especially has to rethink about their tax structure. Yeah, right? This payroll tax thing, they need to start thinking about that.
And that's something that, although I have a lot of more pressing things on my day-to-day, I think as an AI founder in general, you do have to think about these problems, right? Because my goal is how can we empower humans? How can we help humans? Not how do we take away jobs and make me rich, Yeah. I mean, my goal, even just creating companies, is not to become rich. It's more to create impact in the world. Yeah. And then Sam Altman has also said it. There's definitely people. The real danger in AI is the people that want to use it for selfish reasons, right? So for the people that don't, is how do we beat them, right? Yeah. How do we go faster than them?
Yeah, that's a very good thinking, because I always thought of this, that what if the interviews that I do, if we feed the AI models with all my interviews, the questions I ask, the way I ask, they can replicate. I think I will never have to do another interview for the rest of my life there. And maybe just looking at your interviews, they can replicate your answers as well of my questions. It's kind of and then put it in a very, and if it's in a short form, with cuts and all that style done in a better way, probably no one will ever notice that. Was it real or what happened?
We will get to a point in which you won't be able to tell the difference. Right now, we're already getting there on images. There's definitely images you can't tell the difference. But I think something that also I feel is that people are things done by humans lose value. I actually think they increase in value. So for example, take our clothes, for example. Yeah. If you buy something from H&M, yes, it's $20. Yeah. I don't know how much something in H&M is. But if you buy a designer thing that was hand stitched, it's gonna cost you a lot more, right? If it was a painting but that was handmade, it's gonna be a lot more higher value than if it was AI generated.
I see the point you're thinking.
Yeah. So I think your podcast actually has value from it not being AI generated.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it'll be a lot of repetition, and it may look real if you're not paying close attention. But if you're actually thinking, it adds no value at all because it's just the same thing over and over in a repeat.
Yeah, and where I have heard like good uses of AI in podcasts is like interviewing like people that are no longer here, right? Like Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe interviewing yourself in the future, right?
Yeah.
Those are really cool interviews that AI definitely lets you have.
So you can do that?
Yes, you can do that today. People have done it.
Oh God! Wow.
Yeah.
Man, we need you as a consultant for the show. This is, we gotta get these, because what you have done to me from I saw you last night, your videos and things like that. You have given me the possibilities, right? Back in the days, these stories used to go viral before. Until somebody does it, we don't know anybody can do that. And then when they did it, then we kind of, oh, that guy did it, and then 20 other people did it. Right? You are kind of like the messenger, the AI messenger from the internet, from the entertainment industry, that's giving people the possibilities that these AI can do for their creativity, how it can kind of expand. It's an extension of their creativity, not a killer. Right, I think that's what you're doing. You're the messenger for that.
We're democratizing creativity.
Democratizing creativity. Okay, yeah.
Hollywood has it behind closed doors. We're opening it to everyone.
Yeah, that's what I think. Wow, man, this is because the Hollywood studios will have to start rethinking, because now your AI studios are going to start to pop up.
I mean, for Hollywood, it's not even for me in the equation. They innovate so slowly. Like they've already lost so much. Netflix. First it was Netflix, right?
Yeah.
But then when it was YouTube, TikTok, video games, like every year their market share just goes down. And it's because they like sticking with a formula that works. Like for example, when was the last time you went to a movie theater?
For me, that's quite a while ago, right? Yeah,
like, even me, I grew up watching films like all the time. Like I made films for 8 years. I don't know the last time I went to a movie theater.
Wow. Yeah. No, I see the.
I'm more worried about other AI startups first, then TikTok.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Maybe YouTube.
Yeah, the TikTok and YouTube, because most of the content today, even it's a TV content, whatever, I consume all of it from YouTube in general, right? And mostly longer forms. Shorter forms I consume, but then after I consume it, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing, you know?
You know, something I wish Netflix had is a comment section. Because every time I finish a video on YouTube or TikTok, I go to the comment sections. And it has happened to me several times now that I finished a show, and I'm like, well, how can I tell other people about it? So that's one downside that Netflix has, or just all those platforms, that they're so like, oh, you can't share this outside.
Yeah.
That
the close end, that kind of encourages people to put a lot of things because there is no criticism. But then some people clip it and put it on YouTube, and then the criticism starts coming.
Yeah, and I think like if you notice, like if you want a film to go big, like you have to invest like several tens of millions and hundreds of millions in advertising. Yeah. Right? Half of the movie's budget, like there's the production budget, and usually the advertising budget is the same as the production budget.
Oh so my God, wow.
200 million making a movie, you expect to spend 200 million on advertising it.
Wow, so that's a waste. That...
and YouTube, if it's good, it goes viral by itself.
By itself, wow. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, that's a... So you have a lot of insider knowledge and you're bringing it to the world of AI, man. This is pretty amazing, I like that. This is so. What's next for you? What's your plan? Maybe 6 months down the road, and as time go by.
Yeah. right now is continue to have user interviews, improve our product. I am a very big believer that I don't have all the answers. So every day I'm talking to users. They have a lot of great suggestions, a lot that we can't implement because a lot of what we're doing right now is less about what we're doing, but what we're not doing. Right? Because we have time to do one thing in the day, and then there's like a list of other 100 things that we should be doing, but we don't have time to. But is raise our pre-seed. I have applied to like a bajillion startup accelerators.
Are you part of any of them, or you don't want to?
No. Right now, I'm part of like 3 pre-accelerators called Build Space, Pioneer, and Founder University.
Founder University, okay. So Build Space, Pioneer, Founder University, so they are kind of helping you to get ready for your pre-seed round.
So Founder University is run by Jason Calacanis.
Oh, Jason Calacanis, that's Elon Musk's good friend. That's the Chamath Palihapitiya and right, and the other guy, I forgot his name, it's the South African, those 3 guys. Wow, that's a pretty powerful man you're associated with. Wow, look at you. So what is that? What company is that? Founder University.
Founder University. They also have an accelerator after that. I've been a part of like a lot of stuff like that. I've also been part of Draper University. That's run by Tim Draper. Another billionaire.
Wow, man, pretty good stuff.
Yeah, but each one, like, to shout them out, like I say, like Draper University will give you the best relationship with other founders. It's a very unique approach. It has like this thing called Survival Week, which I won't get a lot into detail with because the whole part that makes it so hard is that nobody tells you what the hell Survival Week is. So, but you build way stronger relationships with the founder in that than any other place I've gone to. Founder University by Jason Calacanis is the one that I've gotten the most real, most like sincere like advice, right? Like he has a lot of knowledge and he's like not apologetic about it. So other ones are super hype and he's like, no, like get users, right? And then Build Space, they consider themselves more like a school. But they're really good at doing hype. They backed by Andreessen Horowitz.
Oh wow!
And they're not even like you can apply with like if you're a filmmaker, if you're a musician, and at the end whoever does the most progress at the end of like 6 weeks, they give $100K to. But they're really good at doing hype, like hype Twitter. They're really good at that. Wow. Yeah.
So you were a part of a bunch of these, so that way you were getting the best out of all of them. Man, that's pretty good.
I like to think it's like you only need 1 yes. Doesn't matter if you get 100 no's. So I'm just a part of as many things as I can be.
Wow, people would love your video, it'll go viral and then everybody's going to be at your doorstep. Hey, how much money do you need? Because you are going to need quite a bit of money looking at the concept, you have the vision. It's not done using a small amount of money. The bootstrapping is not enough because you need considerable amount of funding, and more than that, you need very big people or big organizations to kind of back you up, right?
For me, like we could bootstrap it, but the problem is that we would just get beat by other startups. Right. So for us, funding is how can we accelerate our growth so we can beat other startups. Because yes, we could spend 2 or 3 years building this in our garage as a side project, but by that point, there's going to be another AI startup that has 10 million more users than us. So.
Yeah, this is the scaling part, right? Where other guy raises a lot more money, and then they're significantly larger, and then you don't exist. That's the biggest problem in Silicon Valley, and that's where a lot of the good decisions, bad decisions all were made. Because sometimes VCs, they thought, okay, let's pour in more money so they can go ahead, but then it wasn't it wasn't ready for that. It wasn't ready to get to that level. So a lot of the money went in waste.
Yeah, but I think more important than money is execution. So if you have a super killer team, which we do, like it doesn't matter if other people have more money than us because we're just gonna outbuild them. So.
Wow. So your team right now is Will and Adel.
Will and Adel are my 2 co-founders. We have also amazing advisors that have exited multiple companies. They've been part of Waze, Google, a bunch of like massive companies. And we also have a few volunteers. Okay. So thank you so much for helping out.
Yes, yes. So you got the volunteers, you got the community. Okay, all right, man. So any advice for future entrepreneurs? Like somebody like you going to Vancouver Film School, USC Film School, School of Cinematic Arts, anywhere, or any film school or any engineering school, anything, and they want to, a lot of them say, oh, I'm a non-tech entrepreneur. Should I go ahead or should I wait? And a lot of that hesitation. What do you say to that?
I'm non-technical, 100%. I actually did the mistake of trying to teach myself how to code. Okay. Because I spent I didn't have a technical co-founder at that point, and I was like, fuck it, like I'll teach myself how to code. I used GPT. I grabbed some stuff from open source, put some very ugly code together. But then what my dad told me, which was very insightful, was like, if you're looking for a technical co-founder, he's never gonna be impressed by your shitty code that you built in 1 month, right? So it wasn't until I focused on what I was really good at, which was making films, right? So I spent 2 weeks making this AI, the video I showed you at the beginning, this AI video that went viral and has 500,000 views. And I did it on in my vacations, right? Yeah. Like I just kind of did it for fun, and people were like, "Wow!" Right? Yeah. But the difference is that I've been making videos for 8 years, right? So that came out really well. So if you're non-technical, first you need a technical co-founder, but to attract your technical co-founder, focus on what makes you really good, right? Double down on your strengths. Yeah. Don't try and become a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So double down on what you're the best at. Because, when I look at you, I'm like, this is a filmmaker. He has all the knowledge of film, and now he's trying to bring that into the tech world, bringing the AI. So, I think of you that way. But if you say, oh, I also learned coding, and I'm like, this guy's doing way too much. I think this is not the company, right? So you are doing the right thing. Specialize in your area, be the best, and then attract other people that are best in their own. And so together you can build the next Story Bard. Yes, yes, man, I love that. Okay, so that's your advice. Now, how about the users, people that are like, hey, I just heard about the Story Bard, I want to try it out, what's going on? And, since you're growing fast, so what kind of people you're looking for? Who are the users and anything you have to say to them?
Yeah, right now, if you want to check it out, go to storybird.co. And right now, we're really exploring all the possibilities. So we would really like your feedback. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. And yeah, it's really a stage of exploration, right?
Yeah. Wow. So So folks, you guys got to check it out. Storybird.co. Generate your own AI video, and whatever feedback you have, talk to Sebastian, talk to him, and you're talking to them on Discord, right?
Yeah, and I think something I want to add, like what you mentioned about riding the wave, I really, and I see that with other startups, right? So if you're another AI startup founder, even if we're potentially competition, I'll help you, right? Because I think too many people in the US see companies and startups like a zero-sum game, like I win and everybody else loses. I don't see it that way. Yeah. I think if we can all band together, we can make something much better than if we do it alone.
Yeah, wow, this is so beautiful. This is fantastic. You have very, very good, I want to collaborate with you and do some AI interview type thing, and I want to see how that looks. I'll put it on YouTube and TikToks and all these social media platforms. And man, this is insightful. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. Appreciate it, and we want to see you back again. Yeah, once you put up the app, we want to see, we want to download, try it out right here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, folks. So do subscribe and check out storybird.co.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.